What is interesting is Pam Bondi yesterday. Let us address the elephant in the room when it comes to Pam James Bond Bondi, who's 59 years old. I don't do these things. I'm not sure that they're nice. I just survey the internet, and there could be a great many reasons why people look the way they do. You could have face work, you could have filters, you could have a bad day, you could have a pixelated capture of a television. This is Vince Langman on the Twitterverse. Pam Bondi is older than Kirsten Gillibrand. How is that possible? It's an amazing thing. Now, there is something to be said about people who are healthy, people who take care of their bodies, and people who stay fit, eat healthy, take sun. Pam Bondi lives in Florida. It's a nice place to make sure that your skin is always toned and you have a nice tan and you don't get stuck in. Where's Kirsten Gillibrand from? I think she's from one of them states that actually goes through a winter. But there is something to be said about people who take care of their bodies, take care of their health, and reflect that to the world. Pam Bondi was fantastic. I didn't listen to all of it. I was listening in and out, and then I was pulling up some highlights. She's fantastic. It's interesting that you can divine more from the questions being asked than from the answers at times. Pam Bondi was grilled. The highlights are amazing. She thinks on her feet. She should have reassured everybody that if anyone was afraid, at least of her composure, I think we saw a composure that did surprise many people yesterday, especially because people have preconceived notions of a female who might think that they're docile or I don't know, whatever. But we're going to pick on Adam Schiff today, among other things. She was good. And I would just want to highlight some of the highlights so we can be assured. And now it's going to be a question of witnessing over time whether or not she implements in policy what we will all have wanted to come from Matt Gaetz.
I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one has asked me
to
investigate Liz Cheney. That is a hypothetical.
The president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president has
We're also worried about Liz Cheney, Senator.
The president has
You know what
called
we
for
should be worried about?
Ms. Bondi, please
crime rate
answer
in
my questions.
California right now
You are
is
aware,
through the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your robbery is 87% higher than the national average.
My question is this.
That's what I
My
want to be
question is this.
focused on, Senator.
Do you have the power to say no to the
Attorney
president?
General.
I'm asking you, sitting here today.
Schiff for brains is the worst human on earth, tied with a number of other people. I love it. Like, you do know that, don't you? It's the classic narcissist manipulative tactic. You do know that, something which is disputed, but you do know that. Right?
Whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one has asked me
to
investigate Liz Cheney. That is a hypothetical.
The president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me.
You are aware of it. He's called for, what exactly did he call for publicly? Schiff for brains, mixed Schiff. What did he call for? I can tell you one thing. If I were there, and everybody's got hindsight, and it's always easy to play armchair or whatever quarterback. Is there a factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Well, there most certainly is, Mr. Schiff. Have you read the Subselect Committee on the investigation into the January 6th investigative committee? Did you read that? It laid out the factual basis pretty clearly that there is grounds potentially to investigate Liz Warhore Cheney for criminal activity, potentially unlawful activity. What would that be? Suborning perjury, witness tampering. Specifically, factual basis, Liz Cheney back-channeled communications with a witness before that January 6th committee, Hutchison, back-channeled communications with her, bypassing her counsel because she was represented by counsel Hutchison, the witness, which is illegal. Which is potential witness tampering, to deliberately bypass counsel of an individual that you know to be represented. That's one. Potential suborning perjury because they got Hutchison to explain away why she didn't make certain statements and damning testimony the first time she testified. That's a factual basis that is well documented. Text messages using CNN correspondence, I forget what the CNN journalist's name was, to back-channel communications directly with someone they knew to be represented by counsel. It's not just unethical for an attorney, it's potentially unlawful. So, Mr. Schiff for brains, McSchiff, yes, there is a factual basis for it. Have I been asked to do it? No, I haven't been asked to do it yet. Will I do it if I'm asked? I will follow the facts where the facts take me. The worst man in Congress, liar, pathological liar, confirmed liar, comes out, talks about the smoking gun evidence about Russia collusion, never had it, lied, knew that his lie couldn't be contradicted because anybody to contradict his lie would have to violate the confidentiality of the committee as relates to the 2016 Russiagate collusion hoax nonsense. Let's play this one through.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, as you know, the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States held the president has absolute immunity to commit crimes in certain core areas of the president's responsibility One of those core areas is
This
so
is where I would not be able to shut my big mouth. Schiff, you are a goddamn liar. That's not what anything of the immunity said, that he has the absolute immunity to commit crimes. In fact, it's putting the carriage in front of the horse, that he can do whatever is required within the constitutional core powers of the presidency. Imagine if the president couldn't authorize people to kill. I mean, on the one hand, you might like it, but you wouldn't have any wars. If it is authorized, if it is a core constitutional duty to lock people up, I mean, that would be a crime if it weren't authorized by the courts, the Constitution. It would be a crime. Deprivation of liberty. Well, there's a good reason for it. The person's a criminal. Oh, the president has absolute immunity to commit crimes. Bullcrap. You're a liar. You're lying again. But go on, please.
In a breathtakingly dangerous and irresponsible decision, Justice Roberts and the majority held the president could commit crimes using the Department of Justice and be immune from prosecution. Justice Sotomayor correctly said this new immunity lies about like a loaded weapon. So the fear and the concern we have is that the incoming president will use that loaded weapon, that immunity, to commit crimes through the Department of Justice. And for that reason,
it's a very bad analogy to be harping on, considering what was done to Trump recently, not once but twice. But no, keep it up. It's like, oh yeah, no. Remember when they said, well, Joe Biden, you can terminate your political rival if it's within your core constitutional duties, so go ahead and do it. And you had people on the internet clamoring for that.
It is all the more important that we have an attorney general who has the independence, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to say no to the president when it is necessary. So my first set of questions has to do whether you have the independence to say no when you must say no. And you can say this is hypothetical, but it is not hypothetical.
Very, very patronizing, but okay, I won't go there.
So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Yeah, I will, of course. Jack Smith is a political hack, an unlawfully appointed special counsel, and I will look into it. And if I determine that he has violated the law, he will be treated equal under the law. Mr. Schiff, no one is above the law. Is that not correct? Why would I not be able to investigate Jack Smith? Do you think that he somehow has immunity from his potential crimes?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without
flip it,
looking at a file.
Flip it
You
on
would
him.
need a factual, you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Factual
Absolutely.
predicate.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an
Did
investigation.
you not
Is that right?
factual
I will look
predicate?
at the facts and evidence in any case. You know,
And sitting here,
72%, excuse me,
sitting here today.
Senator, 72% of
Please,
Americans
I only have
hey,
sitting
in the
here,
Department of Justice.
sitting here today,
statements
sitting here
like
today.
this.
Are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here
Pause.
today. Yes.
Yeah, apparently he was unlawfully appointed through whatever backdoor mechanisms Merrick Garland employed to appoint private citizen Jack Smith to participate in a prosecution, a wrongful prosecution of a president, potential deprivation of liberty, potential falsification of evidence when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago and splayed out that evidence and falsified the nature of that evidence so they could get their snapshot. Yeah, there's a predicate there. Thank you for reminding me. Actually, it'll be on number one. It'll be number 2 on my to-do list. Liz Cheney's number 1.
Yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You
of
can't answer that
anything that's
question.
brought to me.
You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us,
I'm
are you
sitting here as
aware,
a nominee.
just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news
Are
is
you aware of
horrible.
a-
Do I know
you-
if he
you
committed
seem
a crime?
reluctant.
I have not.
You
looked
seem
at it.
reluctant to answer a simple question.
You see,
Let me ask you a different
Look
simple
at that
question.
jackass. Look at
The
the hold on. Look at this guy right here. Look at that guy's face. Oh yeah, testify, Schiff.
Senator, what
You
I'm
seem
hearing on the news
Are
is
you-
horrible. Do I know
you-
if he
you
committed
seem
a
to-
crime? I have not.
You
looked at
seem reluctant to answer a
Look at this guy right
simple
here.
question.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you a different simple question.
Right,
The
go.
president also wants to
Liz
jail
Cheney.
Liz Cheney. Sitting here today,
Has she been?
are you
pardoned
aware
yet?
of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that
No,
question.
it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on what
asked
you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
President has
hypothetical.
called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
Yeah, aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know what
called
we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You
is
are
through
aware-
the
Flipping
roof.
it
Ms.
on
Bondi,
him.
It's
my
higher
question,
than the
my
national
question
average.
is this.
That's what I
My
want to
question
be
is
focused
this.
on, Senator.
Do you have the
if I'm
power to say
confirmed as
no to the
Attorney
president?
General.
And what you're suggesting today by your non-answer is you don't have the independence to
This is
say
what you
no to the
call
president. So let me ask you a
the
different
answer that
question.
you
It
want.
also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy
let's start with
that
these
you
ones.
could speak to the
Truth.
president.
Wait, hold on, stop.
Can you tell us
Stop. Do we think this is going to be truth? I'm betting no.
to the president, can you tell us, can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the
I knew it was going to be that one. He's got such a smug, disgusting face that you can't say what what kind of face it is, because you don't want anybody thinking you're suggesting anyone to actually do terrible things. Scum of the earth, just like scum of the earth.
independence to say that? You have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election. Can you tell us that here today?
He didn't. Schiff, where did the 7 million votes go? What are we up to now? Like, it was 10 million until they kept counting in California.
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I
No,
won't
I'm just
do it.
asking you a simple
I
question.
won't play
If you can
politics
speak
with any
to
ongoing
power. So let me ask
investigation,
you another.
like you did
let me-
leaking your
let me ask
colleague
you-
Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Yes.
Senator,
If I were there, well, there's a reason why I'm not there. Yes, Mr. Schiff. Intelligence suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story. Mr. Schiff, did you not read the article in Time magazine explaining how they fortified the election? You might call that fortification. I call that interference. Massive. On a massive scale that shifted the outcome of that election. Pam can't say that, but that's
I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania.
I know you want to answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results
there
of the
was.
2020 election? Yes or no? Was
I
there or
can
was there
tell
not?
you what I saw when I went
That's
as an
not my,
advocate
that's
to
not
the
my
campaign.
question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president. So let me ask you a different
By the way,
question.
just so you understand, like it's an easy truth. They cloak lies in truth and repeat it over and over and over. And so far, his two simple truths are hotly contested, at the very least, questions regarding the legitimacy and the constitutional validity of the 2020 election. Worst person on earth. The thing is, I can't imagine. He's a father. He's a husband. Maybe he's not still married. I can't imagine going home and feeling good about yourself. I just couldn't. I have to assume in his heart of hearts, he knows that he is the biggest scumbag liar on earth.
It will also be important that you give good advice to the president. Are you prepared to advise the president not to pardon people who beat police officers?
Your boy just pardoned murderers. You stupid sack of crap. I don't know what our answer is going to be to this one. I haven't seen this clip yet. Your boy, Schiff, just pardoned. I believe there were cop killers. I believe there were child killers. I believe there were woman killers. He just commuted their sentences from death row. You lying sack of disgusting human waste.
Senator, as I said, the pardons are at the direction of the president. We will look and we will advise. I will look at every case on a case.
so you
Let me
look
finish
at-
on a case by case basis.
Okay, good.
And
Let
I
me- let me-
abhor violence to police officers.
Follow up with that. So will it be your advice to the president, Mr. President? I know you said you want to issue hundreds of pardons on day one.
Not hundreds, Schiff. All of them.
Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
I'm sorry, Mr. Schiff. My advice to the president doesn't override the president's executive constitutional powers of the pardon. You think I'm going to tell the president how to exercise his core presidential executive constitutional powers as president? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm not above the law.
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files.
And
for
will
the
you be able to
pardons, as
do,
well
will
as
you
the
be able to
ongoing
review
investigation.
hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am
Of course
asked
you
to
won't.
look
So
at.
will you advise the
Hey,
president?
can I
will
answer
you-
the question?
Well, my question
I would
is,
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
you'll be able to review
Listen, I'm
hundreds
not
of
going to
cases.
miss this body nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me answer
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress,
also-
Senator, for
it will
comments just
also-
like this that
It
are
will
so reckless.
it will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed?
You already destroyed it, you sack of lying human waste. Oh my, you will not destroy the evidence that no longer exists, that we destroyed after we ended that unlawfully formed, non-quorum respecting January 6th kangaroo court persecution. It's beyond confession through projection. This is evil in it materialized. It's unreal that they can get up there and actually accuse their adversaries of doing what they themselves have done. Say it. I love Big Brother, Pam. The elections were good. The elections were clean. The elections were kosher. Were very good. Say it, Pam. You're not going to pardon people who beat up cops. Hey, you only commute the sentences of people who murder cops. That's what Joe Biden just did. You promise you're not going to delete any evidence from that January 6th committee that we already deleted the evidence from. I mean, it's absolute insanity.
Under your watch.
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do you
department.
see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation?
Well, gee, now that you mention it, there is no lawful ethical basis to do it. So if anyone on the committee did it, like Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, you might be setting up a factual predicates to go after them for destruction of evidence. Thank you very much for this recommendation. I don't even have to listen to Trump anymore. Thanks for the recommendation, Schiff.
Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump
There
that
you
was
go.
false? Is that why you're
Why do
frightened
you have
now? I can't
difficulty?
believe
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
It shouldn't be a difficult question.
Oh my goodness, he's the worst person on earth. It's amazing that every one of their accusations underscores their own confession. It was good, but the thing is, it's always easier to say, like, what would have happened if she had responded with those answers? Are they not? Is Schiff for brains like you're going to not vote for her twice? And it's such a partisan, dog and pony show. Like this, they get up there, they all have Schiff didn't even need to hear her answers. It would have been the same performative nonsense.